stream. All right, here we go. All right, everyone, how are you doing? I don't think we need an introduction here. This is Matt Rowe. Matt's been in the group. Matt is part of the Path to Healing group coaching, and for a good reason. The shit that we learned from Matt is amazing, and he's now bringing us the next level of healing, something that he is so excited to introduce, and it starts on my first child's birthday, September 13th. Yeah, so that's exciting. Awesome. Yeah, 21 this year.
Oh my God. Oh, my Henry turns 21 in April. So you have to tell me how that goes.
Well, he wants me to go out and get a drink with him that night when he turns 21 at midnight. And I'm going, sweetie, I'd love to get a drink with you, but my God, I'm going to sleep by 9:30. I'll do it the next day. I'm not 21, you are. Anyway, all right. Everyone who's jumping on here, please say hi. Let us know that you're here. And if you have kids, let us know if you have a 21-year-old. So Matt, can you tell us about this amazing workshop that's going to start September 13th? Because you got some cool things going on.
Well, you know what? Let me take a step back from this amazing workshop before I get talking about it.
All right.
You know, in my own life, Janine, as you guys very well know, you guys know me, I've gone through a divorce. You're something that you're experiencing.
I'm about to go through my second one. Sorry, go ahead.
So all of these types of things. And so I noticed turmoil happening within my life, down from the diagnosis to everything that was happening to me. It felt like pieces of me were being taken away, and I just kept dividing it out to other individuals. And so what I never did was put myself first in this scenario. As I started to walk this road, I met this incredible woman by the name of Janine Troutman. Walking this road and doing all of these things, I kept teaching mindset. I kept teaching what was working for me, what was actually game changers for me in the process. This built into a program which I call Thrive. And so helping individuals step into their power, down from the work that we do in coaching individuals. But with all of this work that I was doing, I kept finding a central theme. Individuals were not putting themselves first. They were keeping themselves, like, looking at it like, well, what can I do? Oh, if I do celery juice every day, which is very, very good and very powerful. Heavy metal smoothie detox. I need to do this, or I want to do this, or I've got to do this. And it put their body into a state of need and desperation. And what I found was individuals were not putting themselves first through this process. So then I started to say, okay, what am I missing? And I spent the last couple of years really studying this. This is while Thrive was going on. This is all this work that we were doing. And I kept studying, and I was like, okay, there's got to be something else. What is a trigger? And I came upon things about like manifestation, and I came upon things about creation and really stepping into my power. And one thing I found was it was really freaking hard to step into my power. Even though I was teaching this stuff, I kind of felt like I just kept hitting a wall. Then one day, I started to study, and I started to take a look at something of how you actually create. So as you think about this, everything you have ever wanted in your life, Janine, everything that has experienced is something that first became a thought inside of your mind.
I was imagining kids since I was 5 years old.
Yeah. And how many kids do you have, Janine?
9. No, 3. It feels like 9. 3. Today it feels like 9. Yeah.
Yeah, you have a lot, a lot going on. And so with all of this is what really, when we think about it, everything we create in our lives, we create twice. It first starts as a thought. I want this. I want to head this way. I want kids. I would imagine that when you were with little kids, and you're going to say something right there.
I was going to add on to that. I want this. And then you have to follow up to avoid the resistance. I deserve this. And And that's why I think kids came so easy to me, because from a little girl, I imagined it. I played house. I already named my children. I not only did I imagine it and I wanted it, but I knew that I deserved it. I knew that I could learn from all the mistakes of the people around me. And I knew what I wanted to give my kids. And if I think back to that imagination when I was a little girl, it's pretty much what this town looks like, what my kids' childhood looks like.
Yep.
So the thought is first, the I deserve, but then that resistance, like you said, stepping into the power of, okay, I'm going to take care of me. This is what I want. This is what I need. This is what I deserve. And then all of a sudden you are about to talk about the resistance, because you talk about stepping into your power, but to actually do it, what happens? Explain that process when we feel and when we hit the resistance.
You said it very beautifully. We don't feel we deserve it. Now, it's subtle. Now, what the frustrating part of this, as I studied it, is it's subtle. It's nothing. If it was so gregarious and it was so out there, you would correct it. You'd be like, oh, that's resistance right there.
That's an obvious wrong. Let me write that. Yeah, it's never obvious.
And we do. It's never obvious.
No, because we make excuses for it. And we go, oh, no, it must be me. There must be a problem with me.
Right.
And we listen to that voice that we should not listen to.
Yeah, AKA resistance. We are offering resistance. And what gets frustrating with this is resistance is subtle. So, for example, take a look at your diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. You walk this road, you started to first notice symptoms. You're like, man, I can only speak for myself. I noticed that when I walked, I remember remarking to my ex-wife, man, I feel like I have vertigo. Like I feel drunk. Like I'm not drunk. I'm not having the joy of being drunk that I was drinking. I just
get all the shitty symptoms of the beer buzz, but not the good ones. Yeah.
Right. I'm not getting the joy out of this. This is really frustrating. So essentially, I started to actually bring resistance of fear within me. And with this resistance of fear, I then took this to a doctor's appointment. And the doctor basically gave me the unknown. Well, I have no idea what's going on with you. Let's get you an appointment with a neurologist. More fear. Then all of a sudden, you go have the MRI, the spinal tap, whatever it was that got you diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in that moment. That was an immense amount of fear that day. And at that point, I was listening to the doctor. Well, this is what somebody of authority told me was going to happen. So then that became my truth.
Somebody of perceived authority told you something so scary, your brain went, oh, okay. And it programmed you to stay in that fear mode.
Right.
How long did you stay there? Because I stayed there for, a decade. I stayed there a decade before I started going, I need to do something about this. This can't be my life. This can't be the way I live. I've been dreaming about kids since I'm 5 years old. Mm-hmm. And here I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. No, I was diagnosed when Christopher was 2. Mm-hmm. Julie, yeah, and I started getting healthy when Julie was 2. So here I finally have a child and I'm diagnosed. Mm-hmm. How long did you stay in fear?
So fear, I first started to notice symptoms in 13. That's when the fear started. 17 is when I was diagnosed. And it wasn't until 2020, right before the pandemic, that things started to turn around.
Yeah. So that resistance, we have the answers inside of us, but we're afraid to listen to them because we talk ourselves out of it. Well, what do we know? We're not a neurologist. We didn't go to school. We're not a scientist. We're not the ones who discovered MS. And there's no cure. If the entire planet says that there's no cure, who the hell am I to say that I can heal? Right. All the odds are stacked against us. Mm-hmm. But inside of us, every single person that I talk to says, I knew there was something inside my body that wasn't supposed to be there. I knew my body wasn't attacking itself. I just felt it, but I couldn't prove it. And no one would say, hey, you might be right.
Yeah. You're not shown at that level. Oh, you can rise above this. You can get past this moment.
No one was saying that at the time.
No.
So, how do you recognize what is your ego trying to keep you safe and small
Mhm.
versus your intuition saying, no, you're okay. Your body's not attacking itself. You're going to be okay.
Yes.
How do you recognize the difference? What do you tell people?
It's feeling. Feeling is the biggest, let's call it the barometer. The barometer within us. For weather, when we see the barometer go down, we know weather's going to get bad. When barometer goes up, weather's going to be good. When feelings become incoherent, it's going to get bad. When feelings become coherent, things are going to go good from within us. We start to live in our possibility. So let's talk about this from the aspect of ego. So ego does not mean egotistical or arrogant, or that's not what I'm calling. Ego is our past. So what we painted was the actual scenario that happened for you and I. And so for anybody else that feels that, oh yeah, that was very similar to what we were thinking and all this kind of stuff, just put a yes in chat. Is you're like, yeah, that's where, I felt like this, or I remember the day that I was diagnosed, or I remember this when it showed up for me. And so if that shows up into that area, you're basically now operating out of ego, which is fear.
Which is fear.
Fear, if we're feeling fear, we're feeling the unknown. I can't do this. This is going to be crazy. What's going to happen to me? We start to predetermine our future reality before it ever happens. And then this is what I like to call is we indirectly start telling ourselves affirmations. So, for example, let's say we notice a symptom coming in. What might be something you tell yourself? Do you tell yourself, all right, I'm learning how to rise above this? Or do you tell yourself, I'm getting worse?
Depends on when you talk to me. So in the beginning, of course, oh, I must be getting worse. Oh, they were right. I'm just going to, well, they said I was going to end up in a wheelchair. They said I was going to end up not walking. They're right. Look what happened. And I just keep getting worse and worse. So as the yeses are coming in, let's make everyone feel validated and not alone. When you were diagnosed, did you revert right to fear? It's a big fat yes for me. If I could type in those comments, I would. The app, the StreamYard doesn't let me. If anyone felt yes, I went right into fear and I stayed there for years, type a yes. If you're the person who I was like, no. If you're thinking, no, I didn't feel any fear when I was diagnosed, please let us know. It would be good to see what everyone was feeling.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. We got a lot more yeses coming in. Who said that? I was actually able to heal my brain lesions that caused my double vision during my first MS episode. My doctor was shocked when she pulled up my MRI scan just 10 months after starting medical medium info. She said it was not typical and asked me what I was doing. Yep. This is the evidence that we need today. The evidence that we need today so that we can undo all of the fear programs that we created in the past that was literally based on bullshit. Literally based on doctors not knowing anything. Now that they know, now we have to speak up. Outside of this Facebook group, we have to speak up and let people know because everyone's getting diagnosed still, but not everyone has this information. So, sorry, I hijacked Matt. So go back to the difference between the ego, which is just your programs from the past, rear in their ugly head, versus intuition, those whispers.
Yes. The quiet inner voice, which is love, which is compassion, which is, and I'm watching some of these comments and I absolutely love it. No, I will not be in a wheelchair.
Love that.
No's that are coming up. This is where you stepped into your possibility. You are all stepping into your possibility by you just recognizing where you were is very, very, very powerful. Because with that, you are actually creating a contrast. So let me talk about contrast for a minute. Imagine you grew up on the equator. You've never left the equator. Temperature is always the same. And I come down from the north and I'm like, Oh, and I start talking about snow. And I talk about snow, and you're like, I've never felt snow before. Is it like ice? And you're like, well, it's cold like ice, but it's not like ice. I can form it into a ball and throw it at you.
But you just said it was like ice. How is that possible? I don't understand.
Right. And so, really, because we don't understand unless we see the contrast. So, the reason you know the hot is because you know it cold. The reason you know the light is you know the dark. The reason you know how it feels good is because you know how it is to feel bad. So when you're going through all of this, you have that possibility to step into your power. This is what you knew. This is what I knew. This is what everyone here knows deep within them, to step into their power, to step into their possibility. But what happens when we step into fear?
What happens? I thought you were going to say, what happens when we step into possibility and we feel the resistance? What happens when we step into fear? We spiral downwards, or at least from speaking for myself.
Yes.
Fear just became greater and greater and greater until I physically broke. Mm-hmm. And the way I always dealt with stress, the fight, flight, or freeze, my response was always freeze and do nothing, stick my head in the sand and hope it'll go away.
Right.
As many times as that has happened to me, I didn't learn that it only gets worse, when your head is finally yanked out of the sand and you're forced to face it. So of course I handled the MS diagnosis the same way I always handled stress. I'm too busy to deal with this. I'm not going to deal with it. And as my symptoms got worse and that voice got louder, see, Janine, you are getting worse. Legs, arms, paralyzed. The universe just stopped me in my tracks and said, you need to look at this.
Right there. You need to look at this is a powerful step, because now you are declaring what you choose. Your desire that you're putting out there. Think of it this way, as the beacon of light. So what happens is when we put the beacon of light out there, we know where we want to go. But then fear comes in, a symptom comes in, or something else shows up into that space. For some of us, we walk right through it. For others, and like myself, it would just spiral me down. The worst spiral was a year long, where it got me into a deep, dark depression. But realized when I started to step out of it, it wasn't that I went from the contrast of where I was, frustrated, angry, depressed, symptoms galore, all of these things. I didn't go from there to joy and love in one leap. The leap is too big. So what we have an opportunity to do is take the feeling that we have now and stack one thought of 1% on top of it.
A 1% improvement. We can all do this. We think that if we can't go from here to here, it's just we'll never be able to do it. No one can do this.
Right.
Just 1% better. What are you thinking right now? I love that Matt teaches this because it takes the pressure off. I still am hard on myself. Gee, you should be feeling this. You should be feeling that. And Matt he explained it very well. You can't make that leap. When you fall that low, it's increments. So what do you say? What are you thinking right now? And tell me something that's just slightly better. Slightly better.
Just slightly better.
Yeah. All of the work that I've done with you and hearing you in the group coaching, and just every week it's in me. And talking about my situation, my healing, hearing about your healing, that's what prompted me to end my marriage. I know that sounds like a bad thing, but it's actually a really good thing. I knew when I first got diagnosed that I put my head in the sand and things just got significantly worse year by year. It just kept getting worse. And when I lost my legs for the first time in 10 years, that was the universe, my body, my intuition going, excuse me, what you're doing right now, you're not in alignment. You need to do something. We've been telling you this because I've had the thoughts of this isn't right. And I was making excuses. And then I lost my legs. And I went, oh, fuck no. I will never go down that path again for somebody. I need to put myself first. And I thank God now, everything that I learned going through MS, healing MS, helping other people heal from MS, hearing other stories, everything that you do to heal yourself, all of these workshops and coaching programs, everything that you do that you're learning right now, this is the stuff that you need for the rest of your life. You will use all of this for the rest of your life, because it's not just about overcoming MS. It's really overcoming your own fears and learning how to listen to yourself. So Matt, you brought up a really good point before when you said the ego and the intuition. And I was thinking about how many times we listened, all of us, you, me, and everyone watching here, we listened to the neurologist and he's telling us everything, this, and we're going, no, that doesn't sound right. That just doesn't feel right.
That's it.
But then you go and you listen to someone who has no degree, nothing, no certificates, and they go, oh, guess what? Your body's not attacking itself. Actually, your body has a virus and you need to experience more joy in your life and help out your physical body. And all of a sudden, your inner voice goes, that sounds right. You take a breath and go, that sounds right. It doesn't matter who says what resonates with you and sounds like the truth, because we have the answers inside of us. We just don't know how to translate, because our intuition doesn't speak in English. It speaks in energy. So if it would just say, Janine, don't do that, do this, a lot easier. But instead I get nervous and panicky when I shouldn't do something that I try to talk myself out of, or at least I did in the past. Or I feel like, oh, that feels right. Even if it's like logically a little scary, the feeling I get is, yeah, no, I need to do this.
But you pointed to one of the biggest blocks.
Right.
It feels a little scary.
Yeah, the logical mind kicks in and wants to keep me safe and goes, no, don't do that. No, you're going to be embarrassed. You could be wrong. And then everyone will know you're wrong.
You've heard me talk about it in the aspect of the sphere of possibility.
That's what helps.
Everything that we have today is within our circle of possibility. Everything we desire is outside of that circle of possibility. But every time we expand this sphere of possibility to bring in something we desire, there's fear.
That expansion is scary as hell.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of practice, and I'm still working on it. But now I could recognize fear as the expansion. As long as I'm aligned with what I feel is right and what I'm doing is right. As long as I can say, okay, but I know that I want to do this, or I need to do this. When I start feeling the fear, I go, well, means I'm expanding. This is good. Scary as fuck. Excuse my language. But it's scary. And so I'm learning to translate the scary feeling differently. We're always taught run from fear. Run. Oh, you're doing something wrong. No, that's not right at all. Listen to the intuition. Listen to the what feels right. And then when it's scary, do it anyway. And then you get that exhilarated feeling. When your sphere actually expands, you get that exhilarated and proud of yourself feeling, which I don't know how often that comes for you, but I really like it.
You get addicted to it, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm feeling proud of myself. And the harder the lesson, the harder it is for me to listen to that intuition, the greater the exhilaration.
So what helps you identify that you are expanding and you're like, okay, this is good. I'm stepping into something new. What has helped you to perpetuate that feeling?
Okay, so you is the short answer. But what I do is I'll sit quietly. I'm like, oh, I'm feeling fear. I feel like the panic is coming up. I'm like, all right, I can't listen to all the noise in my head right now. So I have to center myself. And I never understood what that actually meant. So there's some guided meditations that I'll follow, but I'll sit quietly and breathe and do either a guided meditation or one of my own where I can stop thinking. I didn't realize that was the key. Stop thinking. So I stop thinking, and this doesn't take very long at all. And then when I come out of that and I'm grounded and I'm centered, I go, okay, why are you scared? And then I could talk to myself without the fear.
Yes.
It really is all inside of you, but the ego and the programs are so fucking loud and mean, right?
Mhm.
The intuition and what comes to you and what you should do might be a little scary, but it's kind. It's
Mhm.
so that's the difference for me. When I hear her mean voice coming, getting up there and be like, Janine, you can't do this. You're going to be embarrassed. Why would you do something like this? You're so fucking wrong. I'm like, all right, that's not me. You
Yeah.
need to fucking relax. Like you said, sit on the goddamn curb for 5 minutes and let me work my shit out. And I just get
I'll
quiet.
get you if I need something. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I'll call you when I need something.
Right.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I want that little, sometimes depends on where I'm at and who I'm with.
Mhm.
But that's the answer. I get quiet and I quiet my thoughts and then I talk to myself and I really listen to what I want to do and why I'm scared. And once I recognize that I'm scared, it seems to alleviate most of that.
Yeah.
Once I recognize, oh, okay, I'm feeling scared. Why am I feeling scared? I check in with my body. Well, I'm
Yeah.
feeling scared because it's scary. It's fucking scary, you
Yeah.
know? And I validate the feeling. And then my body goes, oh, she gets it. Okay, she gets it. We're
Mhm.
scared. Yep, we're scared. All right, but we can deal with scary.
Yeah.
So it's not, I don't know if it ever gets easier. I'm sure it does for some people, but for me, it's still, I work at it and I work at it hard.
I want you to know that you will always expand.
Mhm.
You will always desire until you don't.
Yeah.
Until you're always looking for something. And because we get addicted to that feeling of, okay, I'm feeling better, I want to expand a little bit more. But something I found is that is rare. It's
What?
something that is practiced for being okay with seeing the expansion and going, oh, that's where I'm going. It's okay to feel this way. Go sit your ass on the curb. I'll come get you if I need you, but I don't need you right now because I'm headed here. That's what I discovered.
And you're right at every level that you're at, no matter where you are, whether you're just healing your symptoms or your business is booming. And I say that because I talked to my brother, the very successful life coach. And you think once you reach a certain level of success, like there's no fear. But we got into a deep conversation just a few days ago, and he still experiences the same fear that we all do. It's always
Right.
the same. He recognizes it a little bit more quickly, but it still takes the same steps and the same progress to work your way through the fear of the expansion of your sphere.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Is how do you work through the fear of your own expansion?
yeah,
And when you look at this as a general progression of 1%, we're in the game of success. We're in the game of winning. And so, how do we actually put things out there that has us achieve that success, which actually builds up our sense of self worth, our possibility, and allow our thoughts to be one little bit better of a thought than a little bit better instead of cascading and spiraling down. So, one thing that I started to do for myself, Janine, is I recognize that. And for be honest with you, for over 20 years of my life, I have fought with this voice, with this feeling of not being enough. This, can I do this? And it wasn't until I got out of my own way and started to encourage myself with little, small, believable statements. And that's when I put something called the wheel of power into place. And I did it for myself. I did it about a year ago. And I remember doing it going, I don't know, this is just going to be something else that you do. And then all of a sudden, 30 days later, I noticed it happened. I'm like, oh, hell yeah, that happened. And then I set something else out there and I achieved it. This time it only took 20 days to achieve it. Now it's getting down to a basis. I'm achieving things within 5 days to less than 10 days worth of time where I'm like, oh, but my work was, what do I want? What do I want to achieve?
getting clear on what you want.
Just like you had said earlier on, when you wanted to have kids, when you were, since you were a little girl, you said, I deserve this. This is who I am. There was no.
I would imagine the way I would go to sleep as a little girl, I would imagine making desserts for my kids after dinner. And it was always the same dessert. I don't know why. It was chocolate pudding with whipped cream, and it was in a glass, right? With the cherry on top. And that's how I calmed myself to go to sleep at night. The desserts that I would make for my future kids. I was 6 years old. I imagined every detail of my kids' childhood.
Have you ever made that dessert for your kids?
Oh my goodness. And I tell them every time. They're like, we know, Mom, you would go to sleep. We know. I'm like, I just want to tell it one more time. Just please listen.
Just appease your mom right now.
But I have another kid now who hasn't heard my stories yet. I can't wait.
You got a whole new, but this is something, our imagination, what we think about comes to be within our lives. And this is something I found, is that anything we have ever put out there, whether we want it or not, shows up within our lives. We are always creating every second of every day. So then now we have a choice to say, well, what do I want to create? Do I want to create an experience of being in this wheelchair? Or do I want to create the experience of walking again?
So you just said it. The wheelchair is what the doctor told you. The wheelchair is in your past, of all the information you gained in your past. But do I want to create walking? Well, that's unknown. So the question is, where are you creating from? Your reality from the past or the new reality that you want?
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to go into the past because you can see it. It happened.
Right.
But in order to create a new reality, you have to first imagine the new reality and get very clear on what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Just like when I said, I'm going to heal. I'm going to heal. I don't fucking know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to heal. And I would imagine myself walking and playing with my kids. And I had plenty of time to do that because I was laying in a bed all the time. And all I wanted to do was play with my kids. Mm-hmm. So how do you, when you tell people, like, make sure you create from the future to imagine it, how important is the clarity in seeing exactly what you want compared to what you're going to get if you don't do that?
Yes, it's very, very important. But you said something equally important. You didn't need to know how. That's not your job. But what happens is when we think about the future, we can oftentimes start walking down the other road of all the things that went bad, every reason why it can't. Or we start to, think about, well, yeah, that's what I want, but.
Right.
And we let the but thought come in and tell us why this can't happen. Or we try to figure out how. And with the how, it's not our job.
And that's where the resistance comes in, because we cannot not imagine the how, because we haven't been shown the how. So that's where we have to leave it up to let go and let God. That's where that comes from, right?
Yep.
Don't worry about the how. You just set out what you want, and whatever you want, when you're clear on what you want, the things that you need to get it are just going to fall in your path.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you look back in hindsight and go, wow, I would have never imagined that would have happened. I would have never imagined. No, you couldn't imagine that. You just needed to imagine your future and what you want, not the how. That automatically comes. All right, I don't want to spend too much time because I want to get people while they're still on. I want to talk about this workshop September 13th, because this is some powerful work. I still get worked up talking to you about this. I love this. I get off these calls and I'm like, what are we manifesting tonight? So go ahead. What is this workshop?
This workshop is the Belief That Heals workshop. It happens September 13th. And it's September 13th and 14th. And what you will achieve as you go through this is exactly what we were talking about. It's not only basically saying, okay, this is what I want, but it's going to be a believable step. We are going to create affirmations that are believable to you, that over a 30-day period, you will achieve what you desire. And then we create your wheel of power, which is all those believable statements that you can use every day. Like for 5 minutes, wake up in the morning, read through your wheel of power and saying, all right, that's where I'm headed. That's all believable to me. Because a statement that is not believable is a waste of time, Janine.
Yeah. All that resistance is going to come up. And you said before, when you created this for yourself, it was 30 days where you saw progress. But now this is a tool that you're going to learn that doesn't have to take 30 days, because as you get better at it, what are you down to now? What's your number?
Oh, right now, 5 days.
5 days.
5 days. And the more joy I feel, the faster it comes.
Yes.
Where I just let it go. I'm like, oh, okay, I know. Yeah, that's going to happen. I can already see it happening. I'm like, of course that's going to happen. I know it like I know it like I know it.
Because there are different pieces to manifesting what you want. It's like a puzzle. It's like a puzzle and trying to, when you're healing your body, and everyone's different. So you need this and you need a little bit of that. Everyone's different when it comes to manifesting, but there is a formula that you can follow that Matt has written down the instructions, and he has quantified it. He's like, 30 days. You can do this in 30 days if you follow the steps. And then once you learn the steps, it won't even take you 30 days. People are doing this all over the world. It's no longer woo-woo. It's no longer witchcraft. You can say manifesting and it's mainstream. But this is what Matt and I did, and we didn't even know it. We didn't even have the language to put to it when we were doing it. Through the help of the people that we've worked with, that we've been honored to watch heal, we're seeing ourselves. And stop me if I know I'm talking for you here, but because I know your story. We've been able to watch so many people heal and see ourselves in that process. As we're coaching through the process, we're going, that's what I did. That's what I did. You were in the coaching group the other day, remember? When one of the members asked, well, wait a second, if you're telling me that if I really, really want it, I'm going to come from the energy of neediness. She goes, Janine, didn't you really, really want to heal? And I go, yeah, I fucking did. I really, really wanted to heal. I said, and I thought at the time this was bringing me down, and I thought it was slowing me down. But I didn't have the time to go, I really want to heal. What can I do? What can I do? How am I going to do this? No, I had to put on a front for my young kids. Their father just left. I had no money. I had very little health, very little energy. And I had to put on a front of happiness and joy. I had to fake it. So I could not say, how am I going to do it? I'm doing it. I'm doing it. We're happy. We're going here. We're doing this. I had to fake it. And we don't realize that that's what we're teaching people. Well, we realize it now, but we didn't at the time. That's what we're teaching people. We're teaching people that when you go out and you experience joy and you retrain your brain to think in ways of joy and happiness, no, it does not feel natural. We're not used to it. It feels like we're lying to ourselves. It feels like, oh, it's fake. Yeah, it is going to be fake, and but we're so used to society saying, practice, practice, practice. You want to be good at a sport, keep practicing. You're going to suck in the beginning, keep going. This is the same thing. When you're retraining your brain to think a positive thought about yourself or about a situation, it's going to feel like a lie until you continue and you continue. And that's where Matt's like 1%, 1%. So this formula that you're teaching is really the steps, the actual steps, the logical steps that you can take to make what you want a reality in 30 days or less. Let's say that in 30 days or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you consistently just do these small steps, it's not hard.
No.
You are working on your belief.
It's not hard once you know the steps. It's not hard once you know the steps. But really, no one is teaching this. No one is teaching the steps to it. You've been able to put it in a step 1, step 2, step 3. Do this for 30 days.
And that's what this workshop is going to be all about. Janine, I'm so excited about this workshop that anybody that signs up for it, I want you to invite a friend. I want you get a free invite a friend pass. So
I'm going to be following Matt's lead with that, because that's such a great idea. So many people say, oh, Janine, I'd love to do it, but I'm trying to talk my friend into doing it. That's a great idea. So how much is the workshop?
It's $297 for
$297, but for 2 people.
For 2 people.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea, because then you have an accountability partner. You can check in and call each other out and be like, no. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. That's a good idea.
And something that you can call. And I love this accountability part, because I got thinking about this last week. I'm like, how do we help individuals even more? And it's like, well, if I had a friend that could take this with me, that would help out a lot. So if you take advantage of this over the next week, so this week and then up until, let's say, before the workshop on the 13th, you are eligible, because you're a part of Janine and everything that you guys are doing. Invite a friend.
All right, so let's see in the comments right now. I go out with my girlfriend Jen every Monday. We've been doing it since January. We're going on 9 months now. We don't miss a Monday. It's 5:30. We go out. We are each other's accountability partner. Okay, what'd you do this week? What happened this week? What are we manifesting for next week? We call each other out. I go, Jen, no. What are you doing? And she goes, Janine, what the fuck? Why did you do it that way? This is how we speak to each other. So tell me in the comments, does anybody have an accountability partner that they're looking forward to working with on this? Or are you looking for an accountability partner? Because while we have this audience here, it would be nice if someone was like, I don't have an accountability partner. And then you see in the comments and they go, I need an accountability partner. And then the two of you can hook up, because if you guys are in this group and you're seeing this, you're already aligned with your intention. You already are going towards the same place. So it's making new friends, it's holding yourself accountable, and you're learning how to manifest everything that you want in your life that's backed by science. We finally have the science to back this up for the ones who say, oh, but it's all woo-woo. I used to hear that all the time. Actually, it's not. You want the scientific instruments? I don't know their names, but there are scientific instruments that can measure the energy that leaves our body and the changes in it.
Yes.
And that's one of the keys to getting what you want when you want it.
And you are celebrating with your accountability partner. You're celebrating with your friend, because how much fun is that to do something together? And as you lift each other up, because together we get to go farther. So this workshop is all about lifting you up. Now, we're using it for health, but it doesn't stop there.
Yeah.
You can use this same principle for relationships, for money, I've been able to manifest some crazy things because of this, but I had to do the work. I really had to take the steps and follow it. And the only time it didn't work is when I tried to skip one of the steps.
Well, that's a great trial and error. That's how you're able to teach it so well, is because you've gone through, you were your own guinea pig.
Yeah, absolutely. So Janine, you're gonna send out a link after this. You're gonna send all this information that if anybody wishes to take this step, we have spaces available, and I would love for you and a friend to join us.
I'll have that link. I'm like, yes, I do have the link. Yes, Matt's going to send me the link, and I'm going to send it to you, because I don't have the link right now, but I know I'm going to have it, and I'm going to send it out in the email. So I'll download this. It's being recorded. I'll download this, but I want to see it in the comments before we go, because I want people to see whether you're watching the recording or you're watching it live. Do a hands emoji or type in the word A if you would like to work with an accountability partner. Take that step. It might feel a little scary right now to be like, oh, who am I going to get? You're not going to get anybody. Somebody might reach out to you. You might be surprised to see somebody else raising their hands. But if you would like to work with an accountability partner, just to do this with somebody and bring down the cost, $297 for 2 people. You split that bill between the 2 of you. So this is a win-win situation. And honestly, Matt, you should add to the program, the workshop, how to manifest $297 back. Right?
You absolutely
can do that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the link will be in the comments. I'll put the link in the comments. I'll email it out. If anyone has any questions while you're watching this now live, did we go through the comments? I get so caught up talking to you, Matt. I forget where we got comments coming in. Oh, Rhonda. My diagnosis was in 1986. I put my fear in my back pocket. Of course she did. I had to go day to day and struggled with the symptoms because I had to. My 2 boys were 2 years and 3 months. I worked full time. Oh God, you're bringing me back, Rhonda. But that fear was in my back pocket always, even during my remissions. I bet you've released it now. I wonder. Yeah, okay. She said, and today I knew it. I scrolled down and there you were again. And today I put fear when it shows up on the curve. It does not travel in my back pocket anymore. Oh, Rhonda. And that's not an overnight process, is it? But doesn't it feel good when you do the work and you can finally say that? The fear was always there. It was always there. But now, anytime it pops its head up, I shove it to the corner and I say, you sit there. I'm good. I got this.
Yes.
And my God, the empowering feeling that you get from that, I got this. Because at first it feels like, do I have this? I'm not sure if I have this. I've never had it before. And then you prove to yourself that you do with a little step. And then you go, I did. I had that. All right. What are we doing next? And you build upon this power until you feel like, you know, you're wearing a cape and pulling a sword out. And you're like, go ahead, bring it on. I can do this. I know I'm supposed to be coming from a place of love, Matt. I'm sure you're going to, yeah. But that's how I picture it.
Badass feeling right there.
Yeah.
That's, you know, there's something about being able to feel that you have a sword you can pull out and you'll be like, you know what? And do like what Rhonda did, being like, no, go sit on the curb over there. Yeah. You're not in my life anymore.
No, I don't need you. I needed you at some point. I guess you served a purpose, but I don't need you. You're just holding me back, because that fear is a form of resistance. Anything that we want in this world, because we're all energy and we're all vibrating. As soon as you set that intention, this is what I want. It's a law. It's a law of nature. It has to come to you. Yes. Just like you can't wake up and say, you know what? I don't feel like listening to the law of gravity today. I want to float all around. So no law of gravity today. You can. It's a law. It's a law of nature.
Right.
This law of attraction, when you set an intention and it comes to you, it's a law. It has to happen. So you're thinking, okay, well, why doesn't shit happen to me all the time? Because of the resistance. 2 things, right? The resistance and the delay. There's always a delay. Otherwise, you think something and poof, it would happen. That would be scary. Mm-hmm. But it's always about the resistance. So what you're going to learn about this in this workshop is how to identify the resistance, how to remove the resistance.
Yes.
First, you're going to learn how to get super fucking clear on what you want, because the universe can't give you what you want if you're not even clear on what you want.
Bingo.
And because the universe doesn't speak English, it doesn't speak Spanish, it doesn't speak French, you're not communicating like, okay, universe, this is what I want. No, the universe, the only language it understands is energy. So how are you supposed to manipulate your energy so that the universe understands what you want? Through your thoughts. Just through your thoughts. You manipulate your thoughts into positive, which manipulates your energy, which sends out that message that the universe goes, that I understand. Oh, that's what you want? Mm-hmm. I was telling the group yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, Tuesday. I was telling the group on Tuesday that Gabby Bernstein, the author of The Universe Has Your Back.
Mm-hmm. I love her.
She did a lecture where the translator didn't show up. So here she is in front of an audience who doesn't speak English. She only speaks English. She goes, okay, I'm not going to cancel. These people paid a lot of money, and this was our screw up that the translator's not here. I'm going to do this. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do it. She said she did the entire lecture through feeling every single word. She had to feel it and emit it out to the audience. She said it was the most powerful lecture she's ever done. And when people were walking out, they said that was absolutely amazing. Didn't matter what she was saying. We felt it.
Yes.
You think the thoughts, which translates to energy. The energy transcends out into the universe. And like I said, it's a law. Whatever you emit out there has to come back to you. You just have to make sure not only are you clear on what you want, but the path back to you is clear, which Matt is going to show you how to identify that resistance and how to get rid of it. I can't wait for this workshop. All right.
So much fun.
All right. You're going to send me the link. I'm going to post that. Did anyone comment on... Claire, thank you. She said, well done. That was great. Thank you. Love listening, dear Gabby, right? I wish I had all the time in the world to listen to more things. There's so many good podcast episodes from her. Hi from Switzerland. Let's just go through a couple of these comments. What about thinking about the present? For example, I can't presently comfortably walk to the office and back. All right. What would you replace that with? A 1% increase in positivity. How would you?
Have you walked to the office before? So maybe a 1% is, you know what? I've actually walked to this office before. My body has the ability to do this.
Oh, that's so simple and so great. I would have never thought of that.
Yeah. Because in what I'm more interested in is that statement. Now, that statement I made may not be believable for you. I'm interested in your believable statements because, like you said, it's about changing energy. So if I'm going to change energy, I might as well make a statement that's believable.
I just looked who wrote that because I can only see Facebook user on the app. So Grace, that I think she's going to. I know Grace. I think she's going to really identify with that. Oh, I've walked to the office before. My body is capable of it. So now it's just about finding the resistance, whether it's the physical, the emotional, spiritual, finding that resistance and removing it. I know it sounds easy, and it is once we understand the concept and work towards it. Oh, hello, Tracy. Tracy Hill's on. Thanks for saying
that. Tracy Hill.
She popped in. All right, Nika. Then once they told me all I can do was take medication, I figured, why would I listen to them now? And knew I needed and could do something more. Did you see what Nika said? I knew it. I just knew it. No one told you that you could do something more, but your body knew. Don't listen to them. We got this. We can do this.
Right. Love that.
God, good stuff. All right, guys. Thank you. Oh, Becky, I felt fear for about a day, but then I bucked up and decided to fight it. I love that. I bucked up. Laura, I wasn't fearful. I'm a fighter, and I knew that I was going to fight it and get better, and I did. Oh, Laura, thank you for sharing that.
Laura, that's awesome because you knew it. You knew, and you said something very powerful. I knew I would get better and look at the other side, and you did.
Yes, because she knew it. She didn't concern herself with how. She said, I'm going to do it. It doesn't matter how.
You knew it.
Grace just said, I've done this before. That's so good. Thank you, Matt. I knew she'd love that one.
So welcome.
Yeah. Oh, Barb said, I have an accountability partner. Awesome. I'll check with her to see if she's able to do this. Oh, Barb, that's great. I hope more people, I think they're a little, I don't know why not more people said they want an accountability partner. But then again, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I'm always feeling like, yeah, let's work together. Let's do it together. So if that's not you, don't worry about it. But if it is, think about that. The 297 is for two people. You get a free pass with that 297. So it's worth it. It will absolutely change your life. I feel like there needs to be a guarantee in there. If you follow the steps, it will absolutely change your life. Play with it. Have fun with it. Do something that, you're like, what, if it happens, it happens. I don't even care. I'm just doing this as a test. Do that for the 30-day process. Learn the skills in the 2-day workshop. Play with it for those 30 days. And I can't wait to see the results. Maybe we can get a couple people on the StreamYard with us to, that would be a good idea, right? To tell about their results.
So let's go 30 days after the workshop.
Yeah.
Let's have the StreamYard again.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think we're allowed up to 10 people on this app we could bring on. We could have a panel of people, like how their experience went. All right, that we're doing.
Oh, I like that a lot.
I know. I'm excited about that too. I like that. I like the idea of a panel and being like, okay, guys, let's do this. I'm going to do it too.
Awesome.
All right. Wow, it's 5:54. That's the first time I looked at the clock. All right, very good. All right, so we'll have the link. If you guys have any questions, just put in the comments or instant message, Matt, me, whoever, get your question answered because it starts on September 13th, which is a week from today. Yeah, 1 week from today it starts. Wow, I got to go shopping. That's my kids.
This workshop is recorded, so this is something you will have for the rest of your life.
Good, because you're going to need to hear these concepts over and over again just to be reminded. Yeah. Okay, it's perfect.
Absolutely.
Oh, good. All right, guys, 1 week from today, signing up. Matt, this was great. Thanks for this. Everyone, thank you. If you have any questions, just reach out to me or Matt, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
All right, love you all.